Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of The Real Collective. I'm your girl, Nay.
Keisha.
I'm Cam.
What up? It's Dawn.
Your girl Roxy.
Coming to you today, we also have some special guests. We have Hod as well as Mike. So we'll pass it over to Hod, let him introduce himself, and then Mike, you can just jump on in.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name Hod. I also go by Beatsbyhod. 28 years old. I'm a music producer based in Atlanta, Georgia. Work with a couple artists around Atlanta, song throughout the whole country. More about me, really just a hardworking guy, strong-minded person. Like to I'm all about my money as well, so it's a little introduction about me.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you, ladies, for having me on.
Absolutely.
Going on? I'm Mike McCoy. That's just who I am. I'm a small business owner, a mentor, participate in active sports, fighting sports, just trying to be an all-around person to be a light to the world. Because we don't have very many. So that's really what I try to focus on being, is just a mentor to the young people who we have coming up right now, because they don't have really positive sources of influence. So just trying to be one of those type of people and let them see that you can come from struggle and still make it out to be somebody or something, without having to do anything that can really land you and ruining your life.
Absolutely. So today we'll be finishing our male sensitivity series. So let's go straight on into it. So gentlemen, either of you can go first. Were you ever told growing up that it wasn't okay for you to show emotion or have a sensitive side?
Well, for me, my father always, he didn't really tell me not to show my emotions, but he was kind of like, in certain situations, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to be sensitive, and, in certain situations, it's okay to be sensitive privately. So for me, I really ain't get that too much growing up. It was more like, if it was told to me, it was how to handle a situation or something like that, like losing a friend, or, you know what I'm saying, somebody going to the hospital, or a loved one passing, stuff related to that.
Did you ever have I'm sorry, I was going to say real quick, did you ever have anyone say, suck it up? Like if you fell or you hurt yourself, it was, did you ever get that?
To be honest, nah. Even when I play like junior NBA and stuff like that, like, shoot, my father, he always just pushed me to go harder. Never was on no, like, oh, you need to do better and stuff like that. So I never really got that pressure.
That's good. What about you, Mike?
I think I can kind of agree with him as well. My father was one who really pushed me to be my best version, but him being a former boxer, he wasn't really big on showing your emotions. So a lot of times he would be that suck it up and be tougher type of person. So he really pushed his sons to really not show their emotions, because I guess he felt that made them look a little weak. But at the same time, he was just trying to raise us how he grew up to be tough. He grew up in Forest Park, went to Murphy High back when they shot the principal in the head. So he had to grow up mentally tough. So I think that's really where that came into play, was him just trying to prepare us for the world. But at the same time, he really pretty much told us that you can't really show your emotion to the world, because they may take advantage of it or make it seem like you're vulnerable.
So will you guys I know I hear a little one in the background. Are you all going to take the same approach that your fathers took with you all, with your little ones? Or are you going to go in a different direction? Like, how do you feel like you're going to navigate through that?
To an extent, maybe. But I don't want him to hide his emotions, because, that's what makes us people. And if you remember Nutty Professor, the grandmother, when she told that joke, and she was like, if you just kept letting it build and build and build to one day your head pop off. And I don't want him to get to that. I don't want him to get to that point. to where he's
Yeah.
it's just
real.
pent up anger, because that's when you get
Mhm.
these school shootings and
Mm.
people bullying other people because they don't know how to express themselves.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
For me, I feel like I'll pass it down. I feel like I'll pass it down because of the fact that like it helped me get through certain situations and things that I dealt with growing up, stuff like that. So I just feel like I may add on value to it and kind of put it in a way to where my son to understand like it's not pressure in this world. If you feel like if you feel that way, just know when like certain situations and stuff like that, like for instance, I had a lot of friends pass away around me, and like sometimes I ain't know how to handle it at first, but I just came to a point where I was like, shoot, if I'm gonna grieve, I'm gonna just grieve alone. You know what I'm saying? Like I just
Hmm.
that's just
So,
how I overcame things, but that's how I would do it though.
speaking of that, how I know I was kind of there when our friend Q passed, your best friend. Um, that was tough loss for everybody, and it's
Yeah.
still a battle. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So with that, how did you channel that energy? Like instead of turning it into an angry space, you help with your music and you kind of took him along with you. But for you, out of everybody around us, you took it the hardest. So what resources did you use to get through that and to channel your energy that helped you grow as a man?
Basically, like, what really helped me out with this situation is just hearing his voice in my head, or certain conversations that we had, and like just certain statements that he'll make to me, and I started realizing like man, it's really gonna be all right, like, cause I know spiritually he in a good place and stuff like that, and I understand the actual physical situation that took place, but it's like it really helped me to become a strong-minded person. Like even after like going to court, seeing this man autopsy photos and all that, like man, that junk took a toll on me. But
Mhm.
it's like I just took that and it was just like, man, I'm just about to all gas, no brakes. Like I'm just really finna push and like accomplish the things that me and him had set up. So it's like me going through that, it just pushed me to become a stronger person and like take the values that he taught me. So and then like with dealing with the emotions with it, it was kind of like it was tough. It was tough. Like I'm more settled now. I'm more settled now in that situation because I'm like, I understand, you know what I'm saying? Not understand, I overstand the situation now. So it kind of like it got me settled now. I'm really at peace with it. So emotionally too, like I'm at peace with it now. So I deal with it way different now.
And I commend you for that because it took you a long time to get to where you are. You all don't know, but our friend was basically robbed in a sense, and his body was burned in the house. They burned the house down
Wow.
with him. Um, and that was tough for us. And I turned
Yeah.
around and I had another loss, with my godfather. He was shot by a friend. So mental health is important. So that's why I was asking that because that kind of plays into how you're going to grow into the man that you're becoming and that you will become and how you're going to raise your kids and the conversations that you'll have, the experiences that you go through in life, they're either going to make you or break you. You know what I mean? So that's
Mhm.
why I was trying
Yep.
to pick your brain on that to see where you were and how did you get there because I was there from the beginning. So I
Mhm.
know where you were in that mental space and where you are now. And I
Yep.
commend you for that because that wasn't easy for you. It was easier on me than it was for you because that was your right hand. But seeing that growth, I commend you for that. You know what
I
I mean?
appreciate it.
So, and I know, Mike, you knew my godfather, Tony, very well. And you've seen that transition as well, which was a tough loss. Not to get off topic, y'all, but he was murdered, like I said, by a friend over $40. Trying to diffuse the situation. It is on the first 48. It was a full episode of it. And, that was tough on me. I still battle and deal with that, on a regular because I can tell you exactly where it was on Metropolitan. I could see where his blood was in the body, but I had to channel my energy and that helped me grow as a woman and as a mother because it's conversations that I'm going to have with Anaya. You know what I mean? So with that, Mike, have you had any situations where you had to kind of, break out of and kind of go through mentally? And, what was that transition for you?
Yeah, as with anybody, just like how I was saying, I mean, when you lose somebody that's close to you, it's pretty tough for you to do. Like losing my grandmother, I wasn't even strong enough to like physically see it happen because I couldn't remember my grandmother like that, and that was something that tormented me for years. Just losing somebody like that because she was the only grandparent that I ever had. I got to meet all of my other grandparents passed away while my parents were children, so I never ever met them. So for something like that, it was really tough. But I think as men, it really puts us in a place of kind of really where we don't show our emotions because we're seen as having to be the pillar for everyone once those types of things happen. We have to be strong for everyone else. And so over time, I think that kind of makes you a little, I guess, emotionally, I wouldn't say stronger, but it may make you sometimes emotionally tired to where you don't really show that emotion when it comes to losing people like that. But even deep down inside, it hurts you. And that's where it comes in like the male sensitivity. We don't really discuss those things. So over time, just losing people, like I remember being in the army and literally right when I got out of one of my best friends, he got shipped overseas to Iran and passed away at literally the month that I was really supposed to get out, but I got out a month early. So I would have had to go over there with him and he passed away while over there. So that was pretty tough to think that you just talked to this man and then the next month he's completely gone. Like there's no coming back. And one thing, and not to get too deep, that I learned and started to realize is that this isn't the only realm that exists. So when I lose someone here, I have to understand that they're still here, but they're just not physically in here. And that one thing that I always thought about is the fact that they never have to deal with any of the problems that we go through on a daily basis that we see on the news. They don't have to deal with COVID no more. They don't have to deal with worrying about who's watching, pocket watching, and it's just so many things that their spirits go on and live forever, and they don't really have to deal with anymore. And that was one thing that I really had to realize. They don't have to worry about disease, none of those things, and they still watch over and protect me. So what I had to learn is now that they aren't here physically with me, I have to carry them with me spiritually and continue to press towards the mark that they wanted to get to as well, which is just to make it. And that's what we all want to do in life. We want to be successful. And so to take their passing and help it to motivate me to make it to the point that we were all already trying to make it to is what I've really started to turn that into thinking about. Wow, so that it doesn't destroy me mentally.
That's deep.
Yeah, that is.
Well, fellas, in terms of emotions and the way you were brought up and how you were taught and how you've lived your life, how has that been like in relationships? Because a lot of times, it's hard. Men and women, we don't always understand each other. So how do you think how you were raised to show your emotion affects your relationships? And it could be friendships, it could be your relationships, personal.
Well, I actually feel like when it comes to any type of relationship, I mean, I know I ain't scared to show my emotions because I'm like, especially if you on like a deep conversation with somebody and then whatever y'all talking about, and it's like some things just hit your soul and you just like, man, I just gotta let this junk out because like we already in this deep conversation and it's like you really sharing like it's like a I can't even really describe it, but it's like I don't know. I
Like
never really had no
another part of you that you
your
kind of don't.
souls are sharing a spiritual moment. That's what you mean, like the connection.
Yeah. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? And then for a person not to even like turn around and judge you and like shoot,
You think
really
it
just
strengthens the relationship?
Yeah, cause it's like dang, like this person like, and then it could also make you like, it could make that other person feel comfortable, even if it's your homeboy, anybody. Like, man, the person probably look at you like, dang, this man really not scared to like be himself in front of me. Type like, you know, you may have an ignorant person. They be like, oh, this man crying and all that, and but like,
it's a lot of them out here.
A
lot of
it is, but it's just they don't understand. But it's like, man, somebody who actually got overstanding, they'll understand. Like, man, that man, you know, he ain't scared to show his emotions, and hey, sometimes that build other people confidence up too. So that's how I look at it.
It really does. That's one thing that I think has become like a trend. I don't know what it is, but I go around people who may have just met me and they just start spilling out like their emotions. Like I met a dude the other day and he just started talking to me about being engaged to his wife. And we had never met each other. And he just asked me about advice and things like that. So I think people can read your spirit too when they can understand that I can be tough, but at the same time, I can be a little vulnerable to you because you're not going to judge me. And I think that's where we have to get to is we men, like I box. So, I mean, if you want to go hands, we could throw hands. But at the same time, if you want to have a sit down where we actually talk, I'm okay with that because it's taught me how not to treat other people because I've had those things done to me. So I don't want to treat other people that same way because I know how it feels. So it's really been like your testimony is teaching you how to really interact with other people. So I think my friendships and relationships have really become based on I have to, like, even with my wife, like when me and my wife first got together, clash your heads, I'd be ready to leave every day. I pack my bags almost every week. That's just real. But at the same time, I had this dream once and I felt like I was told, you got to learn how to love people how they're supposed to be loved and not how you think they should be loved.
Amen.
And
Yes.
that comes, and you can only get that from listening to people and not trying to, you know, be the narcissist of a relationship. And I felt like that's what I went through as a child is like I used to get bullied in school a lot and I would get in trouble because I was being a class clown, like, and I would get in trouble when I got home. But the relationship was never, man, like, what's going on? Like, explain your feelings. It was never that. So I would get beat, then I go back to school, get bullied, get in a fight, get in a joking, you get what I'm saying? And then they just think like, what's wrong with this boy? And they're not they're not letting me express like, yo, I'm getting picked on at school, so I'm having to stand up for myself. So I think looking at those things now with my daughter and my youngest, even though my youngest is 8, I'm realizing that she still has feelings. Like she had a moment the other day where she just broke down and she was like, I feel like y'all boss me around while Maya gets to do everything she wants to. And see, if I was just like my father did me, if I was just like, oh, and you need to do what I say, I would have never knew that. And she could grow to hate me. And so I think when it comes to our relationships, we have to understand we got to listen to other people or we going to kill the relationship before it even starts.
Only fair.
Yeah, it's only fair.
Yeah.
I commend you on that too, Mike, and that you said that children do have feelings. And it's this meme that's been going around that's like, don't be the parent that doesn't apologize or something like that. I fully believe in apologizing when you're wrong. It doesn't matter if it's your child. They have feelings. They are people. And those are, you know, you're essentially what you're pouring out into them is going, you know, to determine how they are with other people. So if you never apologize and you're always like, I'm right, I'm right, they're going to essentially grow up to always feel like they don't do anything wrong. They're always right. You know, so saying I'm sorry and I apologize and even just listening, not just to kids, but just anyone, being able to listen to understand how they feel and come to a common ground, that speaks volumes and it'll take the relationship a very long way. You know, it's okay to kind of pour into somebody else and pull out what's wrong. You know what I mean?
And another thing too, just in case my dad do look at this, I'm not trying to say like my dad was like no bad person to me. He was just a strong man. He was a strong man. He wanted to build strong children. he instilled wisdom in us. But I just wanted to say that just in case he looked when I posted.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
No shade,
Because he's a
Dad. No
boxer
shade.
too, so he can throw them hands.
Right, we don't want no smoke.
Right.
Right. It's sometimes it's also like about, certain things that you've seen growing up you don't always agree with. And that's okay. You know what I mean? You take what applies, what you feel applies, and then whatever doesn't, you sweep it under the rug and keep it pushing. That's
Yeah.
okay. It comes with the territory. So no shade, Pops. No shade.
But I think even as parents, like, you think you're doing your best at that moment, and even parents, like, once their kids are grown, like, that's where you get those parents who apologize, like, dang, I was really wrong about this when you were a kid or that. And you might be in your head like, whatever, Mom, whatever, Dad, I'm like over it. I'm done with that, because you've kind of tried to suppress that so bad. But at the end of the day, just even hearing that I'm sorry makes a difference. It kind of helps you get that closure that you need.
We just had that conversation a month ago.
And see, it takes them a while, but it's just like with, being a newer parent now, you have to kind of look at your parents' fault and really try not to make those same mistakes. And even if you catch yourself doing it, like, it's okay. You're human. That's what you saw. That's what you were conditioned to believe was what a parent does. So it's your right, though, to realize, like, okay, I was a victim of whatever this was. I'm not going to repeat this, and catch yourself and be like, babe, I'm sorry. I do this all the time with my son. I'm like, I'm sorry for screaming and shouting, but honestly, that's what I learned when I was a kid. So even then, like, you have to realize when you're wrong, and it's okay. You're a parent. You're human. They know you're real. Like,
and essentially, I think we think we're protecting the kids. That's what I believe that my father was. Don't do this. Just listen what I'm telling you. He was trying to protect me, but at the same time, what I've learned from listening to my daughters is my perspective is not their perspective they had on it. So there was times where I think one did this, and then I listened and found out that it was really this that happened. So it transpired to this happening. So yeah, that's just to piggyback off that. As parents, we sometimes think that we gotta tell them and protect them. Like, I had to have a talk with my wife. Like, you gotta open up and let them be a little bit, like, because they're growing up. They're not getting no younger. So we can't treat them like babies all the time. You gotta prepare them for this world. So yeah. Just add to that.
So what do you guys think about, because I know, Mike, you were talking like, you're an entrepreneur, business owner, and all the stuff you're doing. And even you had, like, how do you feel about, like, mentoring young men? And I think it's so important for not just our young Black men or men of color, or our boys, but for just our community as a whole to be able to see these positive representations of what a man is, or what a Black man is or should be. Are you guys, what do you think about, like, mentoring and doing stuff with kids?
Very big on that. Go ahead, Hod. I'm sorry.
Good, brother. Shoot, I was gonna say, like he just said, I'm big on that too. I actually had, like the area I was in, stuff like that. Be like younger teenage guys around there, stuff like that. And you got older guys older than me, they'll try to, like, tell them, instill the wrong thing in their mind. But then I kind of go behind them, just be like, I kind of like clean it up a little bit and just kind of tell them, like, man, like, it's all right what bruh told you, but this is the actual way to do this. Like, and it's something positive too. It ain't nothing negative. So, or they may tell them something to do. They may tell them to do something negative, and then I hear it and be like, man, that's crazy. Or I go tell them and just tell them the actual direction where to go. Or even if we having a one-on-one, I don't know. It just, cause I see young guys all the time. I just want to make sure, like, they doing what's right, like financially, relationship wise, anything. So I think mentoring young guys is that's important, because, like, they part of the future too. Like, they may not be in the same generation or whatever, but it's like Cause they may not have nobody to talk to at certain points, and they may feel like, oh, I could talk to Hod, you feel me, or I could talk to Mike, and I feel like, shoot, it just it help build a person up. Especially some guys may not have fathers and stuff like that, and it's like, not saying that they can look at me as a father figure or something like that, but it's just like just somebody that's there. So, and that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling when you just know somebody there, and that's a male figure, and they're gonna instill positivity in your life and just good information to help you grow and help you spread your wings. Shoot, I'm with it all day. Like, I hold seminars if I got to. Like,
right. We need that.
Just to spread the word or something. But
yeah,
that's what I'm on.
And that's definitely what we have to be. And like you said, for our men of color, but also as a community, we have to teach them the positive influence or the positive vision of what the Black man is. And like I go home where I'm from, Decatur, and I mentor the young men there with a group called Destined for Greatness. I haven't been with them, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been with them for a while, but I still go back and do it individually on my own. But at the same time, I'll go out to Franklin County and I coach a soccer team, which is kind of a mixture of all races, and is sometimes predominantly white. But at the same time, I don't go out there like no shucking and jiving or trying to be who I'm not. Like who I am right now is who I am to them. Like the real street Mike that you get to see is the same one they get to see, but they get to see the wisdom that comes from me at the same time. So when they go back home, if their parents try to like this person because of what they look like, no, Coach Mike is that color and he's awesome man.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I try to really put myself into positions where I don't worry about threats and nothing like that, but I know that, and I'm not trying to get spiritual or anything, but I know God has put a calling in my life to be a light to not only my own people, but to other people. And we have to get that persona of what they see us as because of the news or because of what they hear from bad influences about who we are. I feel like it's our purpose and our duty to go out and be that light that they be like, no, that's not what's going on. And I feel like that's what's really going on in the world is a lot of their children are waking up. So now they're trying to oppress us so that their children are like, man, I'm afraid to interact with them because the older generation is like showing this hatred and they're my family. So now I think that's where it's really become dangerous is we're being oppressed in our thought pattern. And that's really pitting us against us. And I mean, because we all have to respect our each other's cultures, but at the same time, we're getting to that point to where we hate other people's cultures. Like when it comes to racist people with the KKK, listen, I've been in Louisiana where that's like one of the top racist places in the United States. Like there was a part that if you went off base and went to that place, you get kicked out because that's how much they want to keep you out. But it drives emotions because you know what your ancestors have been through. You know what people who use that word think. So I think that's really where it's gotten to is our emotions that sensitivity is unbalanced now. So now we get angry like that real quick, and it's becoming imbalanced because of what we watch and what we see and what we hear. So it's driving our perception to two totally different ways than what they really should be.
Because hate is definitely taught. You're not born to hate.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that masculine energy. Yeah. Too much of it.
Yeah. Either too much of the masculine or the feminine, because you unbalanced. Like you just somebody say one wrong thing till you ready to fight. That's that emotional energy, and you got your emotional energy and you got your logic. My logic tell me, hey, they words don't hurt me. My emotions say, man, F that, man. My feelings. So that's what we at. Is we like this with both of them. But it's sad that that's just human. That's just part of being human beings.
Definitely.
And I know, how you kind of touched on, those that don't have fathers. You all stay tuned. Mentoring program will be coming soon. But I would like to throw out there that any teenagers, both male and female, that are watching or that will be watching, when we do this, it doesn't matter if your mother is in the household or your father is in the household. If you're not able to talk to them, you can still get someone else, because sometimes as parents, we don't realize we talk at the child and not to the child. If it's not a safe way, they're not going to talk to you, whether it's a two-parent household or one.
Right.
So don't feel like you can't reach out to someone else for help. That's what the mentoring program is for. It doesn't matter if you don't have both parents or you do. If you need someone else on the outside to talk to and, help you through some things, that's what the program will definitely be for.
Right. Definitely. So, gentlemen, please throw out your social medias so we can make sure to include that in our descriptions. But just let people know how they can find you. You guys threw out a lot of great things tonight, and I'm so glad that we were able to bring y'all on to get y'all's opinion, because it's definitely important, and it was definitely a different view from the other gentlemen that we've been talking to. So you guys are definitely appreciated. So definitely throw out your social media so we can make sure people can get in contact with you.
All right, it's Beatsbyhod. You can hit me on Instagram, Beatsbyhod. Hit me on Facebook, official Beats. I think it's official Beatsbyhod.
We'll
Twitter.
get it from you.
Yeah, Mike, how can people find you?
My IG is just like my Zoom name, at Mike McCoy, MIC, McCoy, MCCOY. My Facebook is Mike Vision Art, but the only way you'll be able to find me on there is if we got a mutual friend. So yeah, I try to keep that real family oriented to the people I know that are really genuine people. But
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Definitely, this episode has been awesome. I appreciate you guys and your inputs. Because like Cam said, it was definitely different than everyone else. And I hope that this does help everyone that maybe didn't find someone that they connected to before. But just let us know. Like, subscribe, comment, follow, all the good stuff. Subscribe, because we need y'all, and we want to talk to you guys. We want to hear out how else can we help you guys. So reach out to us. We talk back. Yes, we can respond. Yes. We like stuff too. We watch your stories. So all that good stuff. And thank you guys again for another great episode.
And y'all, always, y'all remember, we're gonna always keep it straight with no chaser.